That's a solo that Steve Stevens played on the song Blue Highway by Billy Idol.
Yes, I almost died on the blue highway.
That song and that solo has always been one of my faves. It's really just a bunch of standard cliche licks that we all should know anyway. These are pentatonic licks that we could play over the blues, rock, country, what have you. We're gonna steal all those licks. We're taking a look at Steve Stevens' solo on Blue Highway by Billy Idol. That's what we're doing today on Ray Plays Guitar. And we're going to do it as simply and as accurately as possible. Let's get into it. This song, Blue Highway, appeared on this album, Rebel Yell by Billy Idol. This album came out in November of 1983. I love this album.
You're old. Yeah.
Steve Stevens, this guy, does some amazing guitar work. His guitar sounds are awesome on here. The distorted tones, the clean tones. I always found this funny. Cool picture, right? Steve Stevens and Billy Idol standing in the shadow as Billy is looking across at this title right here. Do not stand in the shadows. Oh, the irony. Or is it idolatry?
That's really funny.
Blue Highway. Very cool tune. The solo happens over the outro, which is basically over one chord. The outro starts over this riff. And then the bass is playing this tonality. He hits this kind of tritone thing, which is a third and a flatted seventh, giving us an E7 chord, basically. So the entire outro is just over an E7 chord. And over that, Steve Stevens plays E minor pentatonic, but he throws the major third in once in a while. And all of these licks are licks that we've all heard before, but he puts them together and he executes them in such a cool way, making this a really cool solo. It starts off with, sounds to me like he's just hitting this note B, and then kind of doing a little dip with the whammy bar to get into it. I used to think he was bending it up here. But the more I listen to it, I think he's just doing that. And then he's grabbing the first two strings open. After that, it sounds to me like he's hitting the harmonic there on the 12th fret second string. Doing a little whammy bend. Then going to the 10th fret. And then a 9 with a couple more whammy bends. Now here's where the solo really starts. It starts with these little pickup notes. Slide up to the 13th fret of the third string. That's G sharp. There's our third right there. Going to the 12th fret of the second string, B, and then grabbing C sharp on the 14th fret. So we're hitting the 3rd, 5th, and the 6th. That leads us right into this Chuck Berry kind of a thing. I'm covering the first and second string on the 12th fret with my first finger. Then with my third finger, I'm going to be bending the third string, 14th fret, this note A. I'm going to be bending that up a full bend. Then playing the first two strings with my first finger here. Now, when I first learned this lick, I found it quite challenging because there's a lot of things going on here. First of all, we got to do this bend. So I'm using a couple fingers, third and second finger, to help push that string up. Then, when I release it, one of the problems I was experiencing was that string would ring out when I would release it. So, I found to alleviate that problem was I would position my first finger in a way that when I release it, that string sort of gets automatically muted with the side of my first finger. Now there is sort of a pattern that he's playing here. 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1. After that whole Chuck Berry sequence, he comes out of it with this lick. Now this is a really cool lick, and there's a lot of stuff going on here. We're basically playing E minor pentatonic here, starting on the 14th fret of the third string. With this move. And we're going to be doing this kind of thing a lot. Bending this note up, bringing it back down, going right into a pull-off to the 12th fret, and then hammering on to the next string, 14th fret of the D string. And we want to be able to play that all together very smoothly. So after we play that, we're going to basically play those three notes again. Follow that up with A, 12 of the 5th string, to G sharp, 11 of the 5th string, ending on E, our root. Now the tricky thing about this phrase, we start on beat 1, that note needs to land on beat 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this next phrase starts off with a slide up to 13 on 3, going to 12 of 1, and that is 2 of the 3 notes of an E major triad there. Now from here, we're going to go back to 13, G sharp, and now slide up to B on 16, and then grabbing that 16th fret of the first string, which is G sharp. So all these notes are just notes of a G major chord. And then we're going to add in this note here, D, on the 15th fret of the second string. These 3 notes together give us an E7 chord. And we're going to strum 16th notes. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4. And then we're going to slide up and do a little 1 E and a 2. Now this next phrase actually starts in an E major pentatonic position. We're going to be starting on this note F sharp on the 11th fret of the 3rd string. We're going to bend that up a full bend. Then we're going to go to the 12th fret of the 1st string. Then we're going to go back to the 11th fret of the 3rd string, bend that up, bring it down, go right into a pull off, and then go right into the 11th fret of the 4th string. Then we're going to play the 7th fret of the 3rd string, this note D. Next measure, we're going to play a similar thing, just down 2 frets. This time starting on the 9th fret of the 3rd string, bending that up a full bend, going to the 10th fret of the 1st string, back to the 9th fret of the 3rd string. With that move, again, bending it up and back, going right into a pull-off to the 1st finger, 7th fret of the 3rd string. Then going right into a hammer-on to the 9th fret of the 4th string. After that, going right back to the 9th fret of the 3rd string, and then the 7th fret of the 3rd string. That leads us right into... Here again, we're sliding up to the 13th fret of the 3rd string, this note G sharp. And this time we are outlining an E major triad. G sharp, B, and E. 13, then 12 of 2, then 12 of 1. Follow that up with a bend on the 15 of 2. A full bend going from D to E. D is the flatted 7th. So we're basically playing an E dominant 7th arpeggio here. But then he's going to repeat this. This sort of a thing. We're bending up from D to E on the 2nd string, and then we're going to play the note E on the 1st string. 12th fret 1st string. That kind of a thing. So we're going to do that 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So after we play that 3 times, we're going to go to the 14th fret of the 1st string with a half bend, and then come back to 14, back to 12. After that, we're going to go to the 14th fret of the 14th fret of the 3rd string, bend that up about a half bend, so you get that blue note. Come back to 14 and 12. Then we're going to play 14 and 12 again. Then do this little cool descending bluesy thing. 14 and 12 of the 4th string, and then 14, 12, and 11 of the 5th string, resolving to 14 of 4, back to E. That's a cool little bluesy thing. We're playing the root, flat 7, 5th, the 4th, going to the 3rd, resolving to the root. Now this sort of lick, I use all the time. Sometimes you could just resolve on that 3rd. I do that lick a lot. Sliding into the 3rd, root, 3rd, flat 7, back to the root. And then you got those 2 notes up here. You do all sorts of stuff. Got that stuff happening there. Anywho. And then we do this cool lick. This is hitting 2 strings basically here, 12th fret on the 2nd and 3rd string. And then this move again. Here we got a 14th fret of the 4th string. Pull off to 12, hammer on to 14 of the 5th string. So after we do that 3 times, we're going to go back and hit the 12th fret of the 2nd and 3rd string twice, and then hit 14 and 12 of the 3rd string. And sometimes I'll grab the same 2 strings. That leads us into this lick, this classic blues guitar lick. E minor pentatonic, starting on the 14th fret of the 3rd string with a full bend. That leads us right to the 12th fret of the 2nd string, to the 12th fret of the 1st string, back to the 2nd string, then 2 bends on the 15th fret of the 2nd string. So when I do this lick, I do that same thing that I do when I play that lick. And that's how I position my 1st finger, so that it mutes the 3rd string when I release it. And then the other technique that helps with this is this roll. When you're playing notes on the same fret but on adjacent strings, we can't pick our finger up and move it. We just, this roll. And we're going to go right back. So it's this sort of thing. And we don't just want to lay it flat and pick those strings, because then you get that string hangover and it's not very clean. But this way, the strings get muted when they need to. After that, he goes up and he plays a major pentatonic lick, sliding up to the, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th fret of the 3rd string, grabbing that note C sharp, then playing E on the 17th fret of the 2nd string, then F sharp on 19 of 2, then you're going to bend up on 19, full bend, to 17, back to 19, ending on 18 of 3. That leads us right into this next lick, which I like a lot. I call this the laughing hyena lick, because it sounds like a laughing hyena to me. We start off by hitting this note E, the root, 17th fret of the 2nd string. Then we're going to go to 19 of 1, this note B. And we're going to bend that up a step and a half, going up to the note D. So we're going to bend that up a step and a half once. Then we're going to bend it up again, bringing it back down to 19. Then hit 18, and then 17, and then 15. Bending that up a little bit, leading us to 17 of 2. And he kind of played, the rhythm that he played, kind of like a triplet kind of a thing. But yeah, the notes are kind of drawn out. Don't try to count it or anything, just kind of feel it and play it. Then he's back into minor pentatonic position here on the 12th fret. Plays this little thing, starting on the 14 of 3 with a half bend, bringing it up, back to 14, twice on 12, then does this move again. Bends up and back on 14, pull off to 12, hammer on to 14 of 4, then 14 of 3 again, twice on 12. Then he does a series of these Chuck Berry moves again. But this time it's just one scoop and one double stop. And he does that for like 2.5 measures, 3 measures or something like that. Coming out of that section, he does this sort of funky rhythmic sort of thing. And the whole idea with this type of rhythm is that we want to keep our right hand moving and scraping the strings, and then this hand is going to be muting the strings sometimes, and then sometimes holding the strings down. And that all works fine and well on most frets, but on the 12th fret, we have an extra challenge that, that 12th fret, the harmonics come up very easily. So, in addition to releasing pressure with my first finger, I'm also dampening the strings with these fingers here. So when I'm hitting the chord, my finger is down and I'm striking the strings. The notes ring out. When I release pressure, I'm also muting the strings with these fingers here, so no sound rings out. If I don't put my fingers down, those harmonics will ring out, and we don't want that. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a... Then he does this sort of thing where bending up, playing double stops, bending the 14th fret of the 2nd and 3rd string. Bending, I'm doing that both with one finger. Just pushing those strings up and down a little bit. Then I'm going to be playing the 12th fret of those same two strings. So this measure starts off with that. Then you're going to bend that up. Then play 14 and 12. Then 2 14s. 2 mutes. Ending on 12, sliding down. Finishing that off with a 1 E and a 2 and a 3. Here's that E7 triad that we had before. He's just sliding in and out of that E7 triad. Then he finishes this whole thing off with this cool bluesy kind of a thing that we've all heard. So, the notes he's playing here, both on the 9th fret, 9 of 4 and 9 of 2. And what we're playing here is the 5th and the 3rd of an E major chord. If I just bar that, we got this E7 chord right here. We're just going to take these two notes and move them down. And typically, if we continued with playing these sixths, that's what this interval is, it's a sixth, we can finish off with something like that. It's that kind of a sound. But Steve never plays that shape here. He goes here, and he'll play that open string. So the way he plays it, he gets into it by sliding from this flat 5 on the 5, 6, 7, 8th fret of the 4th string into the 9th fret of the 4th string, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. At this point, he switches to the bridge pickup. By the way, he's been using his neck pickup the whole time. And here we're going to play that same thing again, but this time sliding from where we are, 7th fret, up to 9, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Coming out of that, hitting this open 6th string, then, then playing these harmonics on the 7th fret of the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd strings. And remember, when you play harmonics, natural harmonics, your finger has to be right on top of the fret. Not where your finger would normally be to play the note, but right on top of the fret itself when we just touch the string lightly to grab that harmonic. You can try playing along with that solo, but also try taking these licks and try playing them in different contexts. Try playing it over a blues track or an R&B track or something like that and see how it works for you there. Well, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please do me a huge favor. Hit that like button, share this video with your friends, subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit that notification bell, but most of all, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. We'll see you next time.